Awesome. So I hope I'm clearly visible, audible. If I'm not, let me know. Uh, let's begin today's session. Right? You can
You're
see
audible,
me?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Awesome. So let's begin today's session. Just sit comfortably with your back and neck straight and gently close your eyes. Start observing your breath. Just the natural breathing. Make sure that your body is aligned. Both hips have equal weight of the body and not tilting towards one side. You're not leaning forward, not falling back, just exactly in the middle. Spine is erect, neck and shoulders are relaxed, and hands are also relaxed, placed on the knees, either palms facing upwards or downwards, however you're comfortable for now, or you can adopt any. Slowly begin to deepen your breathing. Relax your mind. Prepare it for Om chanting, followed by three Shantis. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just feel the vibrations. Join your palms together and rub the palms together. Keep them on the eyes. Very slowly while blinking and looking at the palms. Open up your eyes. Start coming back to the spine. And namaste. Let's begin today's session. So tomorrow your classes are going to end, right? So today we are going to discuss the mudras, right? So last class there was an introduction of what mudras are, and today we are going to discuss some of the mudras that are present in your syllabus, right? So we'll begin with Chin mudra and Gyan mudra, the most common and basic mudras that are present, right? And when we practice them, we'll first do some breathing and then we'll go into the practice, right? So Chin and Gyan mudra, CHIN, Chin, and JNA. Right. So these two mudras, these are very common mudras, right? We do them all the time, be it in asanas, we do it in pranayam, and these are very helpful for your meditation practices also. So some of the mudras we are going to cover, they're going to help you with your meditation practices a lot, right? And Chin and Gyan mudra are two of them. They're going to help you immensely with your meditation practices. So let's discuss a little bit. So for mudras, mudras, as I told you, they are very subtle, right? So if you perform a mudra for 10 to 15 minutes, that is when you start feeling the impact a little bit. And that also after a long time, keep practicing mudras. Then at one point of time, your mind will become so aware that as soon as you form a circuit, it will know that okay, this thing is happening, this attitude is being, I told you mudras are attitudes, right? So this it's like when you form the mudra, there is a trigger inside of you that okay, now this attitude needs to be developed. So like when you do Chin or Gyan mudra, I told you it's very good for meditation because it makes the mind, it gives that trigger to the mind that now you are doing meditation, and it gives that trigger to you to move towards that kind of attitude, right? Concentration, focus, right? When we do Chin and Gyan Mudra, these are the words that generally come up in the mind. So you are moving towards those attitudes. So eventually, as you deepen your practice, these will become triggers for you. So as soon as suppose you adopt Chin Mudra, right? So you will be triggered. Your mind will get this stimulation that now I'm moving towards meditation, right? So it is very helpful in that sense, and it does lead you to a very like calm state of mind. If you do meditation normally and you form these mudras, there is going to be a difference in both your meditation practices. You will be able to observe it very closely if your awareness if you have worked a lot on your concentration and your awareness is heightened, right? These are very, very subtle mudras. So even though they are very easy to perform, they have impact on a very subtle level, right? So Chin. First, let us discuss the Chin mudra. So Chin, this word has been derived from Chit, right? Consciousness. Chit means consciousness, right? So Chin mudra. So mudra of consciousness. So sorry. Yeah. Let's hope. Okay. Yeah. So Chin mudra. When you do Chin mudra, it's like you are working on the awakening of the consciousness, you can say, right? because chin directly means consciousness, so mudra of consciousness, right? So, and at the same time, when you take, because these are both of them are very similar mudras, they are generally covered together only. Gyan mudra. Gyan means knowledge. And now you know knowledge in what sense, right? Knowledge in a deeper sense, right? Intuitive knowledge. So when you do the Gyan mudra, you're working towards the development of the intuitive knowledge, right? So both of these are adopted during your meditation practice. Yeah. So when you do the Chin and Gyan mudra, so there are a lot of variations that exist. So let me show you the most basic one, and then I'll also show you a variation. So you will find both of them when you go through. It depends on which text you are consulting. You will see variations that are given, right? So the basic form of performing Chin mudra is to join the tips. Okay, don't go for this. This is very commonly seen. This, no, you are joining this. So tip is being joined. So tip of index finger and thumb. These two have to be joined, not this. Okay. So be careful because a lot of people do this. This is common mistake, right? You have to join the tips. Like I told you, energy is escaping. And from the hand, there are many, many points. Your hands are completely connected to your body, right? So many points from which energy is escaping. So when you do the Chin mudra, you're joining these two, right? And in order to keep that awareness, press. Little bit pressure you need to keep so that your awareness remains, right? If you leave them too lax, again they will go like this, or even if you cannot do this without keeping a little bit pressure between the tips, right? So there is always this pressure that is maintained, and that helps you to keep the concentration of the mind, right? If somebody is like constantly pressing my body part, I will be aware, right? Something is happening over here. So same way when you are pressing this, so there is a sense of awareness that is automatically by the way in which you form the Chin mudra. Again, your concentration is immediately taken to the position of your hands. So some people like to keep the rest of the three fingers lax, right? But once again, uh, mm, it is better to keep them straight and together, because again, it helps you to keep that awareness. You can also choose to keep them lax, but then again, your sense of awareness goes away if you keep the hand lax, right? So in order to have a better benefit, like better sense of attention out of the mudra, it's good to keep the remaining three fingers straight, right? This is how you do the Chin mudra. Yes. And you place this on the knee. So when you place it on the knee, again, another circuit is being closed in the body. So the energy that is escaping from here, again, you place the hand on the knee, and that circuit is also closed, right? So two circuits are closed. One is in your hand. So the energy that is escaping through the tips, it is being directed back, right? Going back. It's not going out, it's coming back and forming that circle, right? And then when you place it on the knee, right, again, one more loop is being completed. So energetically, that is why, you perform these mudras during meditation, because again, all of the energy that can escape, you again bring it back to your body. Again, you complete that cycle, right? So with both the hands we form Chin mudra. You can also choose to keep them comfortable and lax the remaining three fingers. It's totally up to you, right? But I have found this to be better for my own practice. That is why I'm sharing. But in most books, you will find the technique of keeping the rest of the fingers lax and relaxed, right? So totally up to you. These two, you form it in this way, and then you place it on your knees, right? So this is your Chin mudra. And Gyan mudra is totally opposite of this. So again, same position of the hands, and then you place them on the knees with palms down. So Gyan is when the palms are down. Chin is when the palms are. That is why both of them are discussed together generally, because they are just opposite, right? Just turning my palms down. This is Gyan Mudra. Again, you can place it on the knees and then Chin Mudra. These are the two mudras. Okay. So again, very common reason behind Chin and Gyan Mudra. So, these the three fingers which you keep lax, right, are representing the three gunas. We talked about the three qualities of nature, right? And then this index finger, it represents the individual consciousness, and thumb represents the universal consciousness. All right. So the Paramatma, like we say, and Jivatma. These two, in beginning also I discussed this, the individual consciousness and universal consciousness. So when you join them together, so there is union, right? That is the point we call yoga also, according to some places where there is union between these two energies. So union is taking place. It's the Chin Mudra symbolizes this union, and then remaining three fingers represent the three gunas. And I told you when I was teaching three gunas also in Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned that one has to rise above the influence of the three qualities of nature, right? So currently we are stuck in these three qualities, and however they change, we change, right? So a person will only be able to come to this point of union when they are free from the influence of the three gunas, right? So these represent three gunas, the individual consciousness and the universal consciousness, and this union can only take place when you are free from the influence of the three gunas, right? So this is what the Chin and Gyan Mudra are representing. When you form these, your intention is set in such a way that just when you get to know, why you are doing or saying something, the practice completely changes for you, right? So when you do Chin and Gyan Mudra, this intention totally changes because now you know why you are joining the tips and what the remaining three fingers are representing. So next time when you do Chin and Gyan Mudra, the sense of awareness begins to come in. So meaning helps you with that setting of intention, right? So next time you do Chin and Gyan Mudra, you are aware, okay, this is why I'm performing this and doing this. All right. Chin and Gyan Mudra both work on a very subtle level, so it's not very easy to feel it. But when you do a practice with Chin or Gyan Mudra and without it, like and continued practice, you will see that there is definitely a difference. As soon as you make this, see your eyes begin to close. Already you feel that thing because there is such a deep association. And when you join these together, you feel very peaceful and calm also. Like when you form this, right, you automatically begin to feel that way, right? The sense of calmness, the sense of clarity, yeah, union, I said, the sense of union. You begin to feel all of these things, right? It's a great mudra for focus and concentration, and it will help you in your practices. So when you do Natarajasana, again, you form this mudra with your hand. So this induces a sense of balance also, right? So both Chin and Gyan Mudra, they have their, like, very similar benefits they have. But again, uh, Chin Mudra is better to do like during meditation because when palms are facing upwards, you are open to a lot of energy. You come in receiving mode. If you just place your hands like this, you will feel it's easier for you to receive, right? I cannot receive like this. I have to receive like this. You will see a beggar also begs like this only, right? Keeping the hands like this. So when the palms are facing upwards, we are more open to receiving, right? And Gyan Mudra is very good to do when you are teaching someone. So you can do Gyan Mudra because you are giving at that point of time, and the other person can do Chin Mudra because they are receiving at that point of time. So for your own personal practice, Chin Mudra is better, right? And Gyan Mudra also has almost similar benefits only, but it is better for giving. When you are in a giving attitude, then Gyan Mudra, increases that potential, that way of uh, delivering the knowledge. So you can use both of them during a meditation, during your pranayam practice also. We have been using them, but little bit in detail you had to know, because it's going to help you now. Next time you do it, it's going to help you, right? So variation of this you will see is when you take the uh, index finger and place it on the base of the thumb, right? So when you place it on the base of the thumb, again, you are pressing a point over here. So just, acupressure you would have heard of. So there are different points in the body. And when we, press those points, different areas of the body, they get stimulated. And especially hands, you will see hand will have a lot of points, because hands, all the body organs are connected to the hands, right? So to press your hand, in different areas, you will see acupressure points. A lot of acupressure points are there in your hands, right? So pressing the points on the hands, they really help you, right, with stimulation. So when you place this hand down over here, like there is a point that you are pressing, so press that point, okay, and close this, right? So again, this and this is a variation. So upward, right, and then downward. So this thing you can do, right? Chin and Gyan Mudra. Again, you are doing this variation, right? So this is also famously known as the Vayu Mudra. Okay. So you can also find this in Vayu Mudra. This is the name, and in some books you will find that this is the Chin Mudra and this is the Gyan Mudra. Okay. So again, over here, rather than connecting them, the individual energy is bowing down to the universal energy. That is the change in the meaning, right? And again, you are completing some different circuit over here. So this circuit. So again, with variations also, you will see the flow of the energy changes, right? So if I do Gyan Mudra like this, it's going to have different impact on your overall state of mind. If you are aware, this is going to have different impact, and this is going to have different impact, right? So it doesn't matter what is written in a particular book or not. When you do these two gestures, you will know that because the placement of the finger has changed a little bit, it is going to have a very subtle impact on the way in which energy is coming back and manipulated. This is manipulation of energy, right? And originally it would have escaped, but I'm manipulating, right? My posture, my hands, in order to conserve or complete that circuit, right? So these two, if you perform these two, you sit and you perform these two, you will see both of them have little bit difference in the way in which you feel when you do them. All right. So these are the variations also. So now you know both of them are somewhat given similar names. You can find one technique or you can find the other. It is totally up to you which text you are referring to. You will find different mudras. You will find same name for different mudras also. This also happens, right? So don't get afraid. Don't get why is this mentioning this, why is that mentioning that. It's okay. Your source, according to your source, the mudra is going to vary. And as I told you, mudras are totally different, branch of yoga, right? So you need to go very deeply into the study of mudra in order to just understand why something is being performed in a particular manner, right? So they are totally different school, I can say, or totally different limb of yoga, and very in-depth analysis is required in order to just feel the impact and essence of the mudras, right? And these will have very subtle impact on your body. So be careful when you are doing them. Okay. So even though they seem very normal and natural, and a lot of people have been practicing it, it is not as uh, I would say, I'm not able to find the correct word for it. It's very commonly seen, easy to copy, but has a very deep impact. All right. So again, be careful when you are doing these mudras, right? So next one that we have in your course Today we'll just practice these 1 or 2 mudras that we discussed. Tomorrow we will discuss more mudras. All right. Bhairava and Bhairavi mudra. Okay. Bhairava and Bhairavi mudra. Okay. So this also you would have seen very commonly when people sit for meditation, they practice this mudra. So what they do is they place one palm on top of the other. So like this. This. And you place it in the center, right? So both the hands are together, placed on one on top of the other, and you just keep them in the center, right? And you close your eyes like this, right? So Bhairava, the first one that I have written, let me just spell this out also. Bhairava, Bhairava, and Bhairavi, 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 Bhairava and Bhairavi mudra. Right. Okay. So when I place the right hand on top of the left, this is Bhairava mudra. Okay. And when I change the position, left is on top of right. So this is Bhairavi mudra. Okay. So when the masculine, so left right side is the masculine energy. We have already discussed this when we talked of Hatha Yoga. Yeah. So when we talked of Hatha Yoga, we talked about the Ida and Pingla Nadi. So Pingla is the right one and Ida is the left one. So Pingla Nadi is activated and all the qualities that are associated with Pingla Nadi, the activeness, right, that you need, activation of sympathetic nervous system, the masculine energy, the energy that gets things done, right? So that those qualities and that Nadi is activated when you place the right hand on top of the left, right? You would generally see when people get married, men wear their marriage rings on their right hand, right? And females wear their marriage like rings on the left hand because females are associated with feminine quality and the feminine energy, and left side represents the feminine energy, and right side represents the masculine energy. So males, you will see when they get married, they wear their the ring on the right hand, contrary to what some people think that both wear in left hand. No, females wear in left hand the ring on the ring finger. They place the ring over here, and masculines they wear on the right hand the ring after their marriage, right? So this is because of the association. When people read the hand also, for men they read the right hand and for women they read the left hand. All right. So it's because of the uh, energy, the quality of the energy, right? That is associated with the gender. So both of them are considered to be very close to the gender there is, right? But it might also be opposite. Sometimes it's not necessary that each female has a feminine sort of energy. We have both, like I said, we have both, right? But some energy dominates in one and some energy dominates in the other. So it might happen that a female might have a lot of masculine energy, right? And a male might have some feminine energy, right? So it's when it comes to energy, it's not very I would say gender is a way of perceiving that energy, but not exact measure, right? So when you place the right hand on top of the left, you are increasing the masculine energy. You want more masculine energy to increase in your body, and that is the kind of outcome you will see, right? Pingla Nadi is activated. When you place the left hand, the feminine energy is activated, right? So the feminine energy within you, feminine energy is mostly associated with, if you see on a bodily level, relaxation, the parasympathetic nervous system, right? And a very nurturing kind of nature, right? Like Mother Nature, right? We always say Mother Nature, right? So nature always nurtures, it doesn't discriminate, right? So that kind of energy, when you're looking for that, so you place the left hand on top of the right and you just bring your hands down, right? And you close your eyes, you will begin to, now that you know that you are working on it, again, that thing is again and again reinforced within you, right? When you know that, okay, now left hand is ahead, so again, you are working on that energy, right? Energy associated with the left side. So these are the two mudras, three mudras, or four mudras that we have covered today. Tomorrow we will cover the rest of the mudras, which aren't a lot, and a lot of them you have already done, like the Shanmukhi mudra we did when we did Brahmari Pranayam. So tomorrow we will complete our syllabus of mudras. So any doubts so far from any of the mudras that we have discussed? All right. Okay, great. Awesome. So we are going to practice for a little bit, right? Just trying to feel the impact. So be very patient when you are doing mudras, because eventually you come to the impact of the mudras. First, it might seem mechanical. So today, because it's the first time we are giving it that long a time, that amount of time. So it's okay if you don't feel anything else. But just try to stay connected. The more you are connected, the better you will be able to analyze and comprehend. So first we'll do a little bit breathing, right? So that your mind becomes more calm and focused, and then we will perform the mudras one by one and see how we are feeling with each and every mudra, right? So sit comfortably on your mat and gently close your eyes. Just start observing your breath. Right now you can facing upwards, just being open to all the energy around you. Bring the mind to the breathing. Just this natural process that is going on all the time. Start becoming aware of that process. And don't change your breathing. Just observe it as it is. Allow it to be. You will see your breath has automatically become subtle. Just a little bit deep as you know. Just begin to keep the body still and stable and just observe the normal breathing. You will see your normal breathing changes the pace and turns into Puraka and very natural transition that takes place. So just take a few moments to reach that natural transition. We are going to gently place the right hand on the abdomen. Keep your back neck straight. And exhale completely. Slowly begin to inhale and feel the abdomen rise. To finish the breath, go into the process of exhalation, contracting the abdomen properly, completing one round of abdominal breathing and continuing the same pattern for a few more breaths. With each breath, relax your mind. Keep the mind completely focused on the movement of your abdomen. Just keep continuing your practice. Three more breaths and then you can suspend the practice. Keeping the back neck straight, just observe your natural breath. You will see a change in the way in which you're breathing and the state of your mind. Both the things. Keeping the back and neck straight, prepare yourself for the practice of Anulom Vilom, forming the Pranab Mudra or the Nasagra Mudra, whichever one you're comfortable with. Exhale completely. Close the right nostril, begin to inhale through the left. After inhaling, close the left nostril, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. And exhale through the left. This is one round. Continue your practice. Just continue your practice. Feeling a sense of balance with each and every round. Just complete one more round. If you are in between one round, just complete that and go for one more round after that. Keeping the back neck straight, just observe the impact of Nadi Shodhana, Anulom Vilom, the sense of balance that is induced after your practice. Prepare yourself for practicing Chin Mudra first. So join the tips of your index finger and thumb and just place them on your knees, keeping the back neck straight. Keep the eyes closed. We're going to practice this for a few seconds. So just observe your breathing as you practice the Chin Mudra. See as you hold the Chin Mudra for a while, how are you feeling? Do you feel any change in the state of your mind and your breathing? Or just are you able to become aware of the energy loop that is created? Just check what portion are you able to become aware of. Practice is going to get changes on all of these levels. Very slowly and gently, reverse your hands, go into Gyan Mudra. You're going to hold the Gyan Mudra for a while now. See how you're feeling as you change the posture of the hands. You turn the direction upside down. You'll feel a shift. Slowly and very gently begin to release the Gyan Mudra. Keep your hands, palms facing upwards on your knees. Keeping the eyes closed, just observe for a few moments. Both Gyan and Chin Mudra is formed only for a few seconds. How do you feel after that? Keeping the back and neck straight. You're going to go into Bhairava Mudra. Place the right hand on top of the left hand and gently place them down between your thighs. Keeping the eyes closed, just again feel the impact. Is this position comfortable for you? Just keep seeing. Is this better for your meditation? Just keep observing this thing. Slowly bring the left hand on top of the right hand and see the shift that you feel as you place the left hand on top of the right one. Is this more comfortable for you? Very slowly and gently release the mudra. Place your hands on your knees, palms facing upwards. Just see how you feel. You feel your mind is more introverted, more relaxed, stable. We are going to end today's session with 1 Om and 3 Shanti. So keep the back and neck straight. Eyes are gently closed. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti. 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 Join your palms together in front of the chest and bow down. Just a sense of gratitude for everything we have. Put the palms together. Keep them on your eyes. Very slowly while blinking and looking at the palms. So start coming back, smile. And namaste to everyone. Are there any doubts in the practice? No?
No,
All right.
no doubt.
Okay, great. So tomorrow we'll continue with the practice of mudras. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Take care. Om Shanti.